I firmly believe that God is all about unity and always has been. From the very beginning, Genesis 2:18 says, "It is not good that man should be alone." And I don't think that was God just saying, "Oh, Adam should have a wife. That would be kind of cool." That was God revealing something about human nature, and that is that we are designed for connection. Connection with Him and connection with each other. When sin enters, the unity shatters. When Jesus comes, He prays in John 17 that we would be one just as He and the Father are one. Unity is the goal. But if unity is what God is after, then there's something inside of us that is resisting it. The scriptures name it the natural man. The natural man is an enemy to God. Psychology calls it the ego. Either way, it's part of the exact same thing. The part of us that fights to stay separate. When most people think about the ego, they picture arrogance. They picture somebody puffed up, full of themselves, like a wealthy person looking down on everybody else, thinking, they must be lazy. They must be less intelligent than me. They're just not working as hard as I am. They're not like me. And that is one face of the ego, and that's called superiority. It's the obvious one. It's easy to see. But ego has another side, and it's a little sneakier. Most people never think about this, and it's the person who sees themselves as humble, maybe because they have less, or they see themselves as less. Maybe because they're poor and they're looking at the rich thinking, I would never spend my money so frivolously. I'm better than that because I am not so wasteful. Or someone who is hurt saying, you don't know pain like I do. You can't understand me. And that makes me different in my own special way. It's still pride and it's still separation. The ego doesn't care if it puts you on a throne or if it puts you in a pit. It only cares if you stay apart from others. Okay, so let's talk really quick about how superiority separates. This is the ego's easiest move. It says, I'm above you, and it shows up in so many ways. It says, I'm smarter than you, I'm stronger than you, I'm more disciplined, more moral, more correct, more right. It can even wear spiritual clothes, saying, I pray more, I know more scriptures than you, I have better theology, I whatever, right? Just like all of the Pharisees. This is the category that they all fell into during Jesus' time. On the surface, superiority can look like confidence, but underneath, it's actually insecurity dressed kind of fancy. The ego props itself up by finding someone else to stand over. An example from the scriptures is Jesus tells a story in Luke 18 about the Pharisee and the tax collector. The Pharisee stands by himself and prays, God, I thank you that I'm not like the other people. I'm not like the robbers or the evildoers or the adulterers or even this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give 1/10 of all I have. And that's superiority in its pure form. It's identity by contrast. I know who I am because I'm better than you. I'm not like you. The Pharisee's unity with others is gone. His unity with God is fake because God isn't impressed by the ladder that we build to stand above others. From a psychological lens, there's a thing called social dominance theory. The idea that people naturally form hierarchies to maintain self-worth and order. And when you feel above, your brain actually rewards it with a dopamine hit. And it feels good to be ahead. It feels good to be better. But here's the problem. All studies show that people in higher power states tend to misread emotions in others and lose empathy. In other words, the higher up you feel, the harder it is for you to connect with people. And unity without empathy is impossible. This is also really important to remember that the only people that Christ actively condemned were those who called themselves righteous, were those who said they were better than other people. My biggest problem is that now that I've started seeing this in myself, all of my self-righteousness, all of the times that my ego has said, oh, well, you know better and you do better, and so you are better. And I've tried to really get rid of that. But now the problem that I have is that I look at people who are still judgmental and I judge them. And that's a problem too. That's the exact same problem. Anyway, so I'm trying to get better. I'm not perfect at this. I'm learning and I'm getting better. Now I want to talk about how inferiority separates. This one is a little more sneaky. Most people don't realize that inferiority is ego as well. They think the ego is just arrogance, but inferiority is the typical ego, stereotypical ego flipped upside down. It says, I'm beneath you. I'm still different. I'm set apart. Sometimes it's quiet insecurity hiding in the background. Sometimes it's pretty loud, like victim mentality. Victim mentality isn't about whether you've been hurt, because everybody's been hurt. It's about living in the identity that I'm the one who's been wronged. It becomes the lens for everything. My relationships fail because people don't understand my pain. Nobody knows. I can't succeed because the world is against me. I have hurt myself way worse than you've hurt yourself. I've been in worse relationships. I don't have deep connections because nobody gets it. I remember one time tearing a tendon in my leg. I tore my meniscus and I was hobbling home because I was at the park across the way, and I was hobbling home and my neighbor, bless his heart, he sees me limping and he's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I think I tore my meniscus. And he was like, oh, you want to talk about knee pain? I've had arthritis in my knee since I was 10. That's a perfect example. It feels like humility, like a low position, but it's still self-focused. It's still pride. It's still saying, I'm separate. A person might think, you wouldn't understand, so why bother trying to connect? That wall protects them from rejection, sure, but it also protects their separation. They're safe from being known, but they're also safe from unity, which is God's goal. Research from Stanford on self-handicapping shows that people who strongly identify themselves as victims are a lot more likely to avoid risks, reject feedback, and isolate from potential sources of growth. There's also a concept called moral licensing, and that's the idea that because I've suffered, I'm entitled to certain behaviors and attitudes. It's like saying, I've been through enough, so I get a pass on trying to connect or take responsibility. So here's the twist. Superiority and inferiority are just two ends of the exact same rope. One says, I'm better. The other one says, I'm worse. But both say, I'm not you. I'm unique. I'm special. The ego thrives in comparison. It doesn't matter which direction you compare, up or down, as long as you keep doing it. It's all about maintaining the illusion of the separate self. So what's the cure? Jesus' prayer in John 17 is the antidote to ego. He says that they may be one as we are one. The unity of the Trinity is our model, not sameness, not diversity, not uniformity, but harmony. Philippians 2 gives us a practical blueprint. It says, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but more in humility, count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not to his own interests, but also the interests of others. That is not self-hatred, it's self-forgetfulness. It's shifting the focus from the ranking system entirely. When your identity is rooted in Christ, we feel a firm foundation. We're fixed, we're secure, we're unshakable. You don't need to be above anyone to feel safe. You don't need to be below anyone to feel unique. You can just be you. You can just be. And that's where unity lives. There's research called the false uniqueness effect, which is that people tend to believe that their traits and experiences are more unique than they actually are. That belief that fuels both superiority, I'm more talented, and inferiority, which is my pain is unlike anyone else's. Another study showed that the healthiest relationships come when we see the boundaries between the self and others as less rigid. The ego works overtime to keep those boundaries that stand between us and others really strong, really thick. These could be called heart walls. Research in the Journal of Positive Psychology shows that genuine humility and accurate self-assessment plus valuing others correlates with stronger relationships and higher life satisfaction. Unity isn't just good theology. It's good practice. It's better for life to be united and connected with others. If you want to move towards unity, you have to catch the ego. You have to ask yourself, am I feeling above or below others right now? What is the story that's playing in my head right now? Is this thought building connection or protecting separation? And here's a simple practice. When you catch superiority thoughts, practice gratitude and curiosity instead. When you catch inferiority thoughts, practice service and vulnerability. Both break the ego's loop and both move you towards unity. God said it is not good for man to be alone, and that's not just a marriage. We were made for connection with him and with each other. The ego, whether addresses as superiority or inferiority, will fight against that design. The natural man is an enemy to God. It will keep you on your own island, convinced that you are safe because you are separate. But separation is not safety. It is not starvation. It's not even survival. Unity isn't found in thinking less of yourself or more of yourself. It's found in thinking of yourself less. It's found in loving God and others without needing to measure the gap between you and others. I hope all that made sense. If you ever want a third-party perspective or help in applying any of this so that you can stop self-sabotaging, I'd be more than happy to help you out. In our coaching company, this is exactly what we do every day. We help people overcome anxiety and limiting beliefs that lead to self-sabotage, so feel free to reach out. Anyway, post your comments in the description. Post your comments in the comments section. I would love to engage with you, answer any of your questions. Have an awesome day.